Hello, students of class 11. Today I am going to start a new chapter. The name of the chapter is Discovering Tut, the Saga Continues by A.R. Williams. Now, what is this chapter all about? This chapter is all about a mummy. Mummy means a dead body that is preserved. And where is it done? It's done in Egypt. Egypt is very famous for its pyramids, for its mummies. You all must have heard. And saga here means a long story. So it's a long story about a particular mummy. And who was this Tut? This King Tut was a very young king of Egypt who became a king at a very early age and also passed away at an early age in a very mysterious manner. Nothing much was known about his death. So the world was quite curious to know how he died. And that's why it was decided that the mummy should be taken out from its cemetery and some study should be done on it, CT scan should be done on it to see whether there was any internal injury on the body or not. Okay, so that is why the title has been given as Discovering Tut. Discovering Tut in the sense of not discovering the life about the short, you can say short account of King Tut's family we will get over here. But what has been emphasized in the chapter is about what are the things that happened, how was the weather, what happened at the time when the archaeologists they were trying to take out the body from the Tut, from the cemetery, the body of King Tut, what happened during that time. At the end of the story we are not going to know how King Tut died finally, understood? But here we are going to read about the account of what happened at that particular time when this operation was going on, the operation of taking the body out of the cemetery. All right, so the story starts with this. The writer says that when this operation was going on under the guidance of the Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, Zahi Hawass, then at that time there was a very strong wind blowing at that desert place, at that desert area. A strong wind was blowing and dark clouds could be seen floating above in the sky and covering the stars. And what was the time? The time was 6 o'clock in the evening. It was 5th of January 2005. And it was, this mummy was the most famous mummy of the world because the entire world was very curious to know how this young king had actually died. Whether there was some mystery behind his death or not. And King Tut actually died some 3,300 years ago. So Egypt is very famous for its pyramids, for its mummies. So when the tourists visit Egypt, everyone goes over there to see the place, to see the mummies and see the pyramids also. So that day also, when this operation was going on, several tourists had gathered near the site, near the near that cemetery of King Tut. Many of the tourists, they went down the staircases to see the inside of the grave, the inside of the cemetery of King Tut. The place was known as the Valley of the Kings. And they were so very surprised, so very happy rather to see that the inside of the cemetery was so well decorated. The walls were having murals, means paintings were there on the walls. Okay, some guidebooks were kept over there. Some of the tourists were reading from the guidebooks. Some of the tourists were watching everything very carefully. Some tourists were simply standing over there and wondering. They looked afraid because they believed on the say or on the belief that if a mummy is disturbed from its sleep, then that mummy curses the people who do so. So they were afraid whether they are going to face the wrath of the mummy or not. So they were standing over there. When the mummy was finally found out, then Zahi Hawass said that the mummy was in a very poor condition because of what the British archaeologist Howard Carter did in 1922. Howard Carter actually in 1922, when he was searching for the tomb of King Tut, for several years the search was futile, but finally in 1922 he was successful in getting the tomb, in searching the tomb. And after discovering the tomb, he ransacked the inside the cemetery there, and whatever whatever things were found inside the cemetery, that was really a matter of wonder for the whole world, because inside the cemetery huge amount of wealth was discovered. King Tut's cemetery was most probably the cemetery which was having a huge amount of gold, ornaments and several other expensive things. It was the very surprising thing. And why so? It was because there was a belief among the Egyptians that there is life after death. So just as we use several things during our lifetime, once a person dies and reaches another world, he needed those things as well. And King Tut was a pharaoh, a king, okay? So whatever gold ornaments he used to wear, several other gold jewelries, the things of his that he used in his daily life, along with all those things, the mummy was buried in its grave. Okay, so it turned out to be one of the richest cemetery that was ever found out. All right, students, this much only in this video.